How's it going, everybody? Moses here, bringing you another Path of Exile video guide. Today, Frostblades. Frostblades, a very nice and fast and satisfying skill to use. The class is Dualist, the Ascendancy is Champion. Champion allows us to have a very nice offensive as well as defensive bonuses with these Ascendancy nodes. The order in which we pick them up are Unstoppable Hero, Fortitude for permanent Fortify, First to Strike, Last to Fall, that gives us nice offensive on not low life and defensive on low life bonuses, as well as Inspirational, that gives us and our allies additional bonuses to damage and movement speed. Original build was posted on the forums, the build I followed by Wild Wombat. I, however, elected to change several things, added it my own flavor. Original build I'm going to post on the description below so you guys can check it out, suggesting dual wielding swords. I found that I have some problem accommodate all the gears that I wanted to use, as well as some pieces that I had, so I ended up using the Cossaday shield that allows, hits can't be evaded. A big problem I had is accuracy with the gear that I had, and with this other dual wield sword that I was using. I ended up having about 78% chance to hit. With the Cossaday shield, we're going to have 100% chance to hit, which will Vault Pact is going to give us a permanent life leech and instant life leech, and going to make our survivability very consistent throughout mapping. When it comes to the skills, the main setup is going to be Frost Blades with elemental damage with attacks, melee physical damage, multi-strike, ruthless, and on your 6th link you're going to be using Maim. Other gem links include cast when damage taken with Summon Ice Golem, increased duration, and Immortal Call. Immortal Call should be level 1. Cast when damage taken, see how much you want to level it up. Just make sure that it requires the gem level of your Summon Ice Golem, so you'll be able to cast it while damage taken, so you'll always have the permanent buff of the crit chance of the Summon Ice Golem. When we have permanent Fortify, we can save ourselves 1 gem socket. So Whirling Blades will be linked with faster attacks and Blood Magic. Usually we link Fortify for this setup, but with the Champion Ascendancy you won't need to use this gem. So just Blood Magic, Whirling Blades, and faster attacks. You can level up, normal gems, level them up to 20, and then Vendor with 1 Gem Cutter Prism to get level 1 and 20 quality, and then level it up all the way up again. Or you can just purchase if you got the currency, a 20 quality level 1 gem, and then level it up to 20, like I did with my skill gems. Other links will include Hatred, Blood Rage, Frost Bomb, and Ancestral Protector. These gems do not need to be linked. It just happens so that my helm is linked. But there is no, any kind of effect or correlation between these gems. Are all different active skills we're using. Hatred for the additional physical as extra cold damage. Blood Rage provides us with a way to generate frenzy charges, and of course increased attack speed. And Leech, Frost Bomb is used because our damage is actually 100% cold, with the 60% of Frost Blades and 20% weapon cold damage and Winter Spirit. We're going to have 100% cold damage. So Frost Bomb will provide 20% minus cold resist to monsters, as well as Ancestral Protector that gives up to 20% at level 20, 20% more attack speed while Totem is active. These two gems we're only going to use in like static situations. By that I mean fighting a boss, high high HP single targets such as Essence monsters, Harbingers. We're going to be using these to get the bonus, because while mapping we won't have the time to use Ancestral Protector and Frostbomb, since things will die. Normal monsters, rares, magic monsters will die just to the Frostblades. We won't be needing to use these. But yeah, Blood Rage is going to be active all the time. And since we're always attacking and we have Val Pact, it's going to mitigate the life we're losing with Blood Rage. Last link is a way to generate power charges that increase our crit chance. Assassin's Mark is the curse we're using with Curse on Hit, and with Herald of Ice, this link works to generate us power charges and, you know, allowing monsters to get crit more consistently. That's when it comes to the links. Now, chest piece, belly of the beast, you can use that, or you can use any other 6-link chest that you can get your hands on with life and resists. Helmet, try and get as much life and resists here, as well as the enchant, increased frostblade damage. The best DPS gloves are spike gloves with increased melee damage. Make sure to not enchant these gloves, because if you use the enchantment in the labyrinth, you will remove the implicit melee damage roll on these gloves. You cannot have 2 implicit rolls, only 1. So only 1 will take place. You can actually overwrite the increased melee damage. So make sure to not enchant your gloves if you elect to use spike gloves for your build. Calm's Roots with the enchant increased attack and cast speed if you've killed recently, or the cold damage penetration if you're doing bosses. I have yet to do any bosses. This character is actually only level this character is only level 88. I've been AFK, so this character is about 24 hours old, something like that. So for map clearing, we use the increased attack and cast speed if you've killed recently. Calm's Roots are awesome because, well, they're just overall great with unwavering stance, cannot be slowed below base speed, cannot be frozen, temporal chain, doesn't matter on maps, and overall high flat life that we so desperately need, because we got our Belly of the Beast and Perseverance belt that gives us % increase to maximum life, so that will scale our Calm's Roots better. Like Costaday as well, some additional life over here, and that's when it comes to the build to the gear. On the rings, we're using as much life and resists, and, you know, flat fizz, added cold damage to attacks, increased elemental damage with attack speed are all with attack skills, as well as attack speed are all very good damage modifications that we can use, as well as making sure that we have the life and the resists to be able to run elemental weakness maps. Now, it's kind of a soft cap. I don't know exactly what the number is when it comes to your elemental resistances. I basically just like made this character. Not everything is like perfectly balanced, of course, but like the only thing we want to make sure is that when we're using the Wise Oak, we're going to get the benefit of the resistance penetration. So Wise Oak gives us 35 to all res, which will allow elemental weakness maps with 113. Over here I think it's 109 you need to have in order to run elemental weakness maps. So we're doing just fine, since flasks while mapping are generally always up. As well as the damage penetration from the highest cold resist, highest uncapped resist. So it's going to be cold. Since our damage is cold, we're going to get our cold resistances penetrated, monsters cold resistance penetrated by 15%. Over here, we're going to be running these jewel, threshold jewel. The fight for survival, we want 40, dexterity, and radius. It doesn't have to be allocated, of course, it just needs to be in a radius. So we got our 40 dexterity, and this will provide Frostblade projectile increased projectile speed, and as well as more cold damage penetration of resistances. So we're going to use 2 of these, as well as increased cold damage. For the third socket, we can use over here next to the Scion. Over here you want crit chance with crit multi with cold skills. You want attack speed with one-handed, damage bonuses while holding a shield, your resistances, your maximum life, whatever you elect to balance your character with. Yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the gear. When it comes to the flasks, the only thing we need to worry about is staunching, since none of the other effects are going to actually affect us because of the comms roots. So just make sure you got a bleed flask. It doesn't have to be seething, it could be, but it doesn't have to. I actually find that a non instant flask with high life amount is better, because we are using blood rage that will slowly degen our life. And if we have a seething flask, might be a problem, but we can hit one of those in between areas where there's no monsters and we're just traveling to the next pack. If our life is running low, we can just use one of the maybe saturated, maybe panicked prefix life to have to regenerate our life, since we don't have regeneration just with the life flasks, and as well of course the leech. So yeah, the rest of the flasks, at Serious Promise, since we can use at Serious Promise since we have Fortify and Permanent Onslaught. Normally if you don't use this belt, you want a silver flask to get the Onslaught, which is 20% move speed and attack speed, which is very, very good for the build. But since we don't need it, because of the Fortify Onslaught, we can use it Serious Promise, which gives us a very nice chaos resistance, as well as elemental damage and leech from the flask. Overall, excellent flask to use. Wise Oak we already talked about. Taste of Hate gives us additional maximum cold res and elemental damage as extra cold damage. So it's like, yeah. Lion's Roar gives us some armor and more melee physical damage during flask effect. And the knockback in some builds would be a bit annoying, but since Frostblade is a ranged skill, it actually doesn't really matter too much. Monsters are getting knocked back. It's kind of actually nice to play with Lion's Roar. Yeah, I believe I talked about everything. Bandits, we kill Alira. We help Alira. Alira gives us 15 to all res, 5 mana regen per second, which is kind of irrelevant, but helps a little bit early game, and mostly the crit multiplier. For the weapon, we want ideally a good rare sword. Those can get expensive. This is like a 400 DPS sword or something. I bought it for like 50x, 45x or something. Just because I got the currency and the league is ending, I wanted a good weapon. But you can use any good one-handed rare weapon, or even Skeva. Those are some of the weapons I was using while I was leveling up. So Skeva, I was able to use dual wielding Skeva with the green sockets, gives some more crit multi. I was dual wielding those. Some red beaks for leveling, Princess, Might Flay, Eworld's Mirage, Duresa's Passion, Prismatic Eclipse, as well as Tabula while I was leveling up. Very, very helpful. I also used Astromentis to take care of all, while leveling up. I find this to be a perfect amulet. It gives us a bunch of stats, which is life and damage and, accuracy and all that stuff, but also takes care of all of our requirements for the build. Again, when it comes to Assassin's Mark and Curse on Hit, you want to keep it on low level. to provide the bonuses from the curse, but your intelligence is going to be quite low. Unless you have it on gear somehow. I did not have it on gear, so make sure to see what's up there. I actually picked up the craft node here for the extra intelligence. I believe that is all. He talked about the build. If there's any questions, feel free to, you know, throw your questions at the bottom of the page. We're gonna throw, yeah, in the comments below. We're gonna throw this. Here we got minus max, monster's life. The only mod that you can't really do is actually there's two mods that you can't do. Cannot leech life, cannot leech mana from monsters. Those are deadly. Don't get in there. And reflect damage. Speaking about reflect, Pantheon powers Soul Bugle to reduce reflect damage taken. Use it as soon as you can. We also have this Primeval Force to reduce the reflect damage taken, so you got 35% reduction, which should keep you alive in most cases. So yeah, pay attention to those reflect mobs. Let's use a couple of seconds, maybe we hit a third breach. Let's do damage while stationary. Convert when killed. Let's leave it. Poisonous monsters and additional breach. Physical damage. Physical damage monsters are annoying because of the proximity shield, and with the knockback effect, proximity shield is kind of annoying to deal with. Okay, so we don't have an additional breach, but we're gonna use the double breaches with the Zana level 8 on the map device. Whirling Blade is super cool, by the way. So we're gonna turn on Blood Rage and Elegant Sword, what do you know? So we're gonna turn on Blood Rage and start destroying stuff right away. With Lycos Day Shield, we're gonna have 100% chance to hit monsters, so kind of a problematic breach spawn location here. Nothing too much in terms of actual monsters. Some of these in the Spider Forest are like that. Yeah, we actually need to hit in order to continue leeching. Kind of an annoying breach here, but yeah. Let's pick up some. Yeah, see, like when you're Blood Rage, it has like whatever long duration, and as long as you're killing, it will still be up. That's why you don't want a seething flask. You want like an overtime healing flask, because like, yeah. And I chose Panic because sometimes you will have like, you'll get hit, you get like a big hit, and it will put you on low life, and having that Panicked can sometimes really help. Keeping you alive. Also make sure it's staunching, because Corrupting Blood is a thing that will get you killed. Very, very nice skill. We're traveling super quickly with Frostblade. Maybe we drop a Doctor? Maybe not. Those are quite rare, I heard. This is in fact a very, very nice and fast build. Leveling was a pleasure. Leveling was so smooth. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I don't know why I can't click on the thing. 6 Sakura. So like your Blood Rage will get low, will get you low. People telling me to use cast when, like people suggested using cast when damage taken in Blood Rage. I don't like it because cast when damage taken requires another jewel socket, sorry, gem socket, and because we are using comms roots, we need to be kind of like scarce. We have less amount of you know, jewel socket that we normally might have, so we gotta save the sockets, as well as, you know, you want to level up as much as you can the Blood Rage, and if you level it up to 20, that means you're going to need a very high level cast when damage taken gem that might not be very good for you since ooh. Yeah, sometimes you're talking and you don't really pay attention. These can one-shot you. These little volatiles. Anyway, so you don't want your cast when damage taken to be too high because again, you're going to have a problem with the amount of damage you gotta take in order to proc it. So I just actively use it, and it doesn't take long. You have a lot of attack speed. It doesn't take long at all to cast it. It's basically instantly, and you just click on the center mouse button just to make sure it's up every once in a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes, whatever. As long as you're taking a break from killing. Damage output is very, very nice. The AoE is very, very smooth. This is the build. I'm actually having a lot of fun. This character is just level 88. I died a couple of times to reflect, but the characters, and also before I changed to the shield, I died a couple of times, but since then, like overall I have I think 10 deaths on this character. And they were all from before I changed to the shield. Once I changed to the shield, I didn't die a single time. Again, you just gotta make sure that you're not getting one-shotted with, see, at this point, you see your life is going kind of low because of blood rage. Hit the potion. So yeah, just gotta make sure that volatiles don't kill you. But as long as you're not getting one-shotted, everything will be mitigated and leached. Arcanist, let's just open it. 5 additional items and quantity. Seems like a pretty good roll.
Practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect indeed. Yeah, normally I would identify and craft and go and get engineering orbs and all that, but for the sake of the video, I don't want to take forever. Click in. Actually got a very nice roll.
You there, a moment of your time.
Vorisi. Would be really, really nice if, if when your masters are level 8, they won't spawn anymore in maps because it's super annoying. Especially Vegan, he has a house. And usually when you have a Vegan spawn with a house or with a cave or whatever it is, and you have breaches, usually the Vegan or the Haku or whatever, it will always, Tora, she also has a house, and it will usually block the breach or, whatever, it's just gonna be in the way. When your masters are level 8, you really don't want to do those missions at all anymore.
I can't do this just yet.
So yeah, for the boss we're gonna be using our Frost Bomb,
I believe in traveling light.
and the boss was actually frozen most of the time there, so it didn't even do any damage to us. That is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. The build is in fact awesome. I think I'm going to level this character to like, I don't know, level 95 or so, play it for a couple more days and then move on to the next build. Thank you very much for watching. PoE is in fact an excellent game. Give it a shot. See you guys in the next time. Make sure to drop by and say hello. We're streaming every day. Bye bye, friends.